Beware, Chat GPT makes up fake law. Most folks by now have heard about this wonderful new AI called Chat GPT. It's the next best thing to sliced bread, and we should all be using it, and it's going to make our lives wonderful, simple, and easy, and take care of everything we need to do. Unfortunately, it's only a tool, and tools are not good for every single thing on Earth. For instance, I've got this fantastic Milwaukee. It's an impact gun. It's a portable electric. Who cares about it? It'll buzz off lug nuts for tires. It'll take off bolts from crankshaft snouts. It's terrific. But if I lose a button on my shirt, it's going to do a horrible job of putting that button back on. And we've seen a little bit of what ChatGPT can do and what it cannot do. I was talking with a friend of mine named Alan, who's a real tech guy, and he told me that ChatGPT is going to replace lawyers. It can do the legal research, it can write motions, it can do all this quickly, efficiently, without wasting time on these pesky lawyers. So, being a lawyer myself, I figured I need to go investigate a little bit because I respect what Alan's got to say, and I still need to buy bread. So what I did is at the particular time I had a motion I needed to write in a case. And so I told ChatGPT, I'm a lawyer, I'm in the state of Nevada, I'm writing a motion about certain evidence and certain evidence rules. And I asked it to write this motion, and I told it to use Nevada law, Nevada cases, and specifically Nevada statutes. So I put in all the information, the topics, and so on. And within seconds, ChatGPT provided me with this wonderful, wonderful motion. And I read it through, and it made great arguments. In those arguments, it had citation to cases, it had citations to Nevada statutes. And I read it and I thought, wow, you know what? Alan might really be onto something, because this was great. It only took a few seconds, and lawyers would take hours to write something like this. But something in the back of my head said, hang on a minute, because I've written a lot of motions since 1999 when I started doing this, and these cases weren't really familiar. So I went to go look up the first case, and in law, cases are cited with the case name, whatever, Tom versus dog, and then there's a citation for it that's a mixture of numbers and letters. It's sort of like going to a library and finding where a book is. So I popped into my online research library, and I put in the case name and the citation, and nothing came up. And I thought, oh, that's a little bit odd. So then I only put in the case name, and I found a case with a similar name in a completely different jurisdiction, not Nevada. So I thought, that's not quite right. Let me just go look at the citation. So I looked at the citation. It doesn't exist. I'm like, well, this is really strange. So I went to check the next case, and the next case, and the next case, and none of the cases were real. And then I thought, well, I'm going to go look up the statute, because I recognized the statute that ChatGPT had cited in the state of Nevada. So I pulled up the statute, and I looked at the language of the statute, and I looked at what ChatGPT had put in the motion. And the statute language that's the real statute was not what was in the motion. So what had happened is ChatGPT made a wonderful motion based on these wonderful laws that don't exist. It's fake news in a motion. So I realized at that time there's a real problem here. While the arguments seem fantastic, they're based on law that doesn't exist. And that's a very, very bad thing. So obviously I did not use that motion. But recently there was a lawyer in New York that kind of did the same thing. He went ahead, he had ChatGPT write a motion. He'd apparently not done this before. And what he did next was to take the time to go and cross-check the cases and the statutes that ChatGPT cited for him. He merely signed it and filed it with federal court. Stephen Schwartz was his name, and the federal court judge, Kevin Castle, was very unhappy with this motion. In fact, Judge Castle grilled the lawyer for hours on this motion. And the issue right now is, what are the sanctions going to be, if any, and that hasn't been decided yet. So, hey, ChatGPT is a great tool. It's got some fiction in it, and if you want to write fiction, that's fantastic. Obviously, if you're a lawyer and you're wanting to use the citations in it, that's a very, very bad idea. So what else do you think ChatGPT makes up?